Hey everyone, Mr. Clutch here, back at it on, this would be Wednesday, sorry, no, I don't even know what day it is. Thursday, June 1st, getting the month started here. So I want to get back to these reviews on SPY and QQQ. And so the first thing I'm going to look at here is SPY, and I've had some requests to draw zones live on the videos. Usually I have them already mapped out, but today I'm going to actually draw them to kind of get an idea how to do that. So first thing you're going to do, let's go to a 15-minute chart. Let's remove anything I have on here. And let's pretend today doesn't exist. So we're right in here in the morning before, say we're drawing them out. So what you're gonna do, and this is all how Casey does it in the Team 2 Discord, and it may not be exactly to the cent that he does it on, but it's the basic gist of what he's doing. So we're gonna go back and mark yesterday's low. So what you wanna do is take the bottom wick, usually up to the bottom, the low of the body of the next candle if you're coming from the bottom. So you go from the bottom wick up to the body. Let me zoom in there so you can see that better. Sorry. Let's see up. Sorry. Yeah. So right at that bottom wick up to the body of the bottom of the next candle. So that's one zone we have down here. Now we're going to go look at our high from yesterday as well. And this wick came up here early in the day. We're going to mark it there. And in a case like this is where that next body's so far down. I don't want a zone that's over $1. So since we came back into this area yesterday, you kind of start here and then we hit it here. This is just kind of a feel. You just got to kind of draw the zone for something you feel like that matters. So plus if you're drawing this out right before open, you kind of see it hit again here. So I like that zone the way we drew it there, just right to here. If it's still too big for you, we're at 60 cents there, you can maybe bring it up to the top of those wicks right here. Again, it's not like it's perfect to the penny that it's going to bounce the top or bottom. We just want to know where those zones are in those areas where consolidation occurs or maybe support or resistance. So look where that lined up. That lined up on our low the previous day, so that's a really good zone I like right there. So then we'll want to go back and do one higher. So we're going back to the previous day high, which I believe is our like local high here lately. Yeah. And so see, here was your intraday high right here, but since this pre-mark was right above it, I'll probably just start it here and then maybe come down to like that. Pretty big zone, but we know if we get up here, we've got some resistance, and then you could kind of since we pushed through here on both ways, but you can see a little bit of this high of this day here. You can see it kind of come back through here a couple times and hit in it, and then here wicks to it there. So there's something there. Again, you get too many zones and you start cramping your trading, I guess, because you're afraid you move out of one, you're already in the next. So I'm gonna leave that one off. Normally we'd go back and find one more below, because if we're looking at this again, if we're hiding today's action, we're going, okay, what if we break here? What's our next one down? So we'll go back here. You find the low of this day, but the low is in the pre-market. So I like back here somewhere on the low of last Thursday. Let's see. It's one of those ones that, yeah, it's not bad. No, that's over $1.40. So, yeah, you kind of, again, there's no perfect way here. I might actually just move that up, something like that, because it's since this low happened, it came in here and really held that a couple times, and in the pre-market, wicked right to it there. So, kind of got through this zone and after it made this low and didn't really respect it very well. So anyways, I'm just kind of rambling and thinking out loud here as I'm going through this. Again, there's no perfect way to do this. So once you've got your zone drawn out, go back to our 2-minute chart, and here we are. So we are off to the races. We come out of here, boom, everybody's thinking, man, we're going to sell off. This thing's going to zero out of the open. So just trend line drawing. I'm not taking any of these plays here, but you could have drawn a little trend line out of the pre-market and caught the lowest candle of the day. Um, there you go. You ride that up and you make thousands and thousands of dollars, and you take one trade 30 minutes in. But yeah, it's not that easy, unfortunately, because our EMAs are stacked wrong. But we do see that we kind of got to this little zone down here and didn't quite get to it, started pushing out of it. And then our EMAs are backwards, so we're actually looking to go short here. So you might have been tempted, okay, watching here, we're going to look for this move down, flag down from 13 here. But we didn't. We reclaimed it. We go right up to our zone, hit that. Remember, we couldn't see this zone where this was lining up on today's action when we were building these. So you'll see how well they're respected. Again, the EMAs are so bunched up. You're just looking for a trade here. Maybe if you're playing like rejection of the zone, I could see taking something here with a tight stop. But there's just not a lot there price-wise to do it. So once this move happens and we kind of make a lower high and we push up, look what we do. Base right on top of our zone. So we're showing, hey, we reclaimed that, which I believe was resistance. Yeah, yesterday that was resistance. But now we're on top of it. We've claimed it and we're kind of back testing it. And it's holding. So you want to kind of draw something. This is one of those ones you might just draw because they're so, I mean, look at that. That just lines up almost perfectly as a horizontal line. And then once you start breaking out of there and you close, boom, you could enter there. Very nice move up. And then it's just, you could draw out lines here, a little flag back to the 13. It starts coming out here. It gets choppy, but it moves up all day. Several times where you just take a couple candles back to 13, get in, ride it up. And so there were several good spots on SPY today to get in. Kind of flattened out after the initial run here for quite a while, but this is one of those times where it's like you could take shots at like just the 13 holding, and I'll show you on Qs in a minute if I remember right. It's a little easier to explain this, but as this is holding and even you close below, you kind of quick back through it, you reclaim it. Like you could take a shot somewhere in here and just say, hey, I'm going to put my stop a little bit below 13. If we have a convincing close below, maybe a break of that candle I'm out, and it probably would have stopped you out somewhere over here. Even if you never broke that low, this one came down closed and then broke here, so you might have said, okay, we're out, and then it reclaimed. So super choppy though. This is not an area where you really want to look at anything, but we do the same thing again. We kind of just have this horizontal line. Look at that. Comes down, back tests the 48, pushes through it, back tests it again. We're into our other zone here. So SPYs had really good moves early, and then we kind of just tapered off at the end. It was hard to catch. I mean, you could definitely catch this here. Once these two are formed, you kind of get something here. You might be able to catch that move up. I actually caught this move. I was doing a futures account today. I'm doing a funding test, and when we wicked up here at the top of this zone twice and this trend line broke, I took a trade that was a massive trade and rode this all the way down to the 200 because this was such a low risk, low reward trade. And usually we don't get into individual trades here, but just something to kind of think about with these zones from time to time. When this wicked up here, and then it starts breaking down from kind of this little trend line. I don't know if this trend line went back further. I can't remember what I had. I know I had this short one drawn out, but I wonder what this one looks like all the way from back here. Not too far behind it, to be honest. So if you go there and even tighten it up a little bit more, yeah, you can almost get that to line up with this other trend line. So anyways, when this started happening here, and this I just had this line and we stopped here. As soon as we start breaking down here and the 13's not holding, and I don't remember if I might have even done it higher before we break down, because with a better risk to reward, I just put my stop up here. If we break out of this zone and break the high where we couldn't get through, then I'll just stop out and I'll save my ammo for the next fight. But I just really like the risk reward there, and then it just sold off, and I never even had a back test to stop me out. So just something to keep in mind on stuff like that. Not typically what we're playing if it's a team 2 strategy, but there's risk to reward plays like that sometimes it just makes sense. So let's look at Qs. Let's go back to the 15 minute and let's draw our zones quickly. And we'll just run through this kind of fast. Is this today? Let me block off today's action so we can't see what was going on. So we had the high day zone yesterday. It's a pretty big zone there. Kind of lines up with, I mean, this is one of those ones where it's almost, how much we got here? Yeah, we're already over $1, but you could almost make this into like 2 zones or one massive zone and just say, I don't want to, because you see this is, we're getting stuck in here. We were using this as support. To be honest with you, my zone drawing is not perfect, and a lot of times I'll go ask Casey in these situations, and I could probably look back at what he did today and see here. But yeah, it's kind of a hard zone to draw. I don't even know how to draw. Let me look at what Casey did today. Not sure if I will. You probably won't be able to see it, but let me look at Casey's zone today. So he basically, if I blow this up here, he took it. He didn't include the other. He just went right here to right here. So he just did it just the way it's supposed to be drawn, down to the next. Actually, he drew it down to even the same candle right there. So he did that right there, and then you'll have another zone up here. Comes down to the top of the next candle. So there's 2 nice zones. You've got your low of the day before. You're doing that right there, maybe right there. We don't need to draw anymore out for right now. Look at that. We go back today. Look at that action. Played the zone perfectly from bottom to top. Now let's look at the action on the 2 minute. Okay, so same thing. We come down. We're right in our zone. Start the day. Chopping. I mean, look at your EMAs from basically. They kind of spread out on this run in the pre-market, but obviously there's not any volume or anything going on. They tighten up here, and you don't want to play that. They look like they're starting to spread out here, and then it just sells back through. Looks like it's back testing, and it pushes through. So really, there's not much you can play here. You could play a really steep trend line and try to catch the bottom on these, but not what we're looking for. So what are we looking for? We're looking for a move up to our zone. We get it perfectly into the zone here. So it was hard. It never really gave you a good entry going from this zone to this zone, which is unfortunate. But you could draw something out here, and you may end up getting stopped out here because this actually looked like a perfect flag back. I bet if we look volume, I feel like that was a stair step right down. It got lower for sure, but it wasn't a perfect volume look. So yeah, maybe you get in here. This probably stops you out. No harm, no foul. Redraw your line a little bit using that. Get in here, ride that up. Now this is one to talk about here. This is basically a flag to 13, but I never like to play these steep drops. I mean, it's rare you see like a 2 candle drop that's, what is that, 349, 80, 90 cents here on Qs, that you see a drop that fast and then like one candle just recover and take this out. So it did recover that quickly, but then it sold back off. So in this case, I usually let this one go and just say, okay, see if it'll like maybe give me a little bit more. And it kind of does. It kind of gives us that straight line we saw on SPY again. So that you kind of connect these 2 wicks, and then really you're just waiting. That kind of fakes through. Maybe you go to get in. You're like, okay, it looks like it's closing above. But then it's pushing off. But one thing I was going to point out is that kind of the same as I mentioned on the zones on SPY. When you've got a really good trend going like this, a lot of times it's like, we don't need to flag break. Let's take our play on the 13. And I did this, I've done this a couple times a day when I was playing with futures. It's like, instead of instead of trying to find an entry when it breaks, look, the 13's holding. Let's take it when it gets down here. Maybe it wicks down and it's coming back up here. Take this play and set your stop down here. You can set a really tight stop, or you can just wait for one to close. Maybe you have your stop set 10-15% on your option, so if it does sell too quickly, you're just out and you can reassess, or you can wait for a close below. But if you were just to get in here, I mean, you could have ridden this up the rest of the day, or maybe you got stopped out on just one quick play for a nice profit. But when you're seeing trends, a lot of times you don't get the flag break. So I would encourage you to kind of look back and do some back testing and think about that. When you see it come down to 13, you take it. When you see it 13, you take it. 13, you take it. 13, you take it. I mean, you could have done that so many times today. Up here would have got a little choppy, but you still could have had some nice little scalps here potentially. So once again, then as these are getting closer and you are coming out of chop, maybe you take it at the 48 the next time and you ride that up. So when there's a nice trend, stay with the trend and take high risk to reward plays. I guess low risk, high reward plays. And that's these where you can set a stop really tight and you can just get out. And then if it reclaims, you can always get back in. But when it's holding the EMAs, it's really a good way to do it. So then we got the same move at the end of the day. So getting into our zone there, rejected, came back down. So it looks like it's rejecting in the post market. So anyways, hope today was helpful. Kind of got a lot going on today, so I maybe a little foggy minded today and kind of monotone, but hopefully this helped. I wanted to get back into doing these, and we'll start getting them going again and looking at some stuff. So with that said, everyone have a good Thursday, and hopefully we can close with a really good trading day on Friday. Thanks for watching.